Hi everybody, Dacob here. Welcome back to the Fragrant Bunker. Today we're going to do the top 5 perfumes for the month of March. I prompted my AI bubbles to generate a little bit of a kind of a soothing beginning of spring, end of winter, beginning of spring vibes in a tropical climate because who's not, in March, by this time, who's not sick of winter? Like, we're done, right? So I'm kind of giving us these vibes to look forward to. I don't know, escapism at its best, I want to say. So subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and of course, everything I say in this video is for entertainment purposes only, not rooted in truths or facts. Everything's alleged and just my opinion. Let me show you number 1. Subscribe and thumb up the video. Bam! You know, technically, après l'onde, or after the showers, or after the rain, or after the inundation, dopo l'inondazione, as they would say in Italian. This is technically maybe more of an April perfume, technically because it has to do with rain. And check out my review of Guerlain's Après l'onde. Also on my channel, look how beautiful it is next to the sunshine right there. But, I've been craving this in March this year, more so than April because of April showers. March can also be quite wet, especially beginning of March. So this is kind of an early March vibe for me. And there is that violet accord in here, and there's that smidge of, well, of course, the Guerlinade, as always, there's a little bit of aldehydes bubbling up in the surface, and there's that kind of phenol-y type of smidge at the opening, which when I first was confronted with this one was hard for me to overcome, to get used to it. It's the same component that they use in L'Or Bleu, coincidentally, which is also hard for me to get over in the beginning. But then the dry down, just like, it is that humid vibe after a spring shower. And it's nostalgic, and it takes me back in time. It makes you travel places. It's escapism at its best. Like I said, for this backdrop, the fragrance really matches. I know that this is technically a garden in the early 1900s, somewhere on the outskirts of Paris, and it's very bourgeoisie. And well, check out my review for the whole story and the whole decadence of it. But in modern days, travel has become more affordable. I mean, you can imagine in the early 1900s, you can't just say, oh, let me just take some charter plane and let me fly somewhere. It's impossible. I mean, you could barely afford to get out of town. You would just be working. I mean, we're kind of heading back in time to those times where there's less freedom, obviously. But in terms of where we are right now in 2025, March 2025, we still have some freedoms left. And it's up to us to preserve those freedoms and to keep fighting for them. So we got really, really tough times ahead. And perfumes help kind of ground me into compartmentalizing on one end, my need for peace and equilibrium, balance. And then on the other hand, they strengthen my core and prepare me to those moments when I have to shut kind of the door closed behind me of my sacred safe space, which is my home, and then I go out into the world and I have to confront people, and I have to deal with bureaucracy, and I have to deal with other human beings outside. And a lot of people are very irritable at the moment, and irritating as well. And it's just, perfumes are like, I guess some people use music and they buy albums and records and they put those headphones on and they go through life listening to music and they're in their own movie. When I was much younger, that was something that I loved to do. The older I get, the less I want to listen to music when I'm out and about. I need my peripheral vision when I'm out and about, and I need my full attention, and I need all my senses alert when I'm outside. I don't need headphones blocking my ears with music inside and then basically shunning out the exterior world. That lowers my alertness when I'm out and about. And I'm just sorry to have to say this, but nowadays I don't feel safe outside. I don't feel comfortable, and I don't feel like I can just go la-di-da, let me just like chill and walk through the city. It's like being in the jungle. It's like being, I don't know, in the desert. It's like being in a very, very inhospitable, uh, ruthless environment where you can be attacked at any minute. So there's no blocking off any of the senses. You need all of your senses crystal clear and alert. And fragrances like this one, they don't function as a strengthening mechanism like music would to some people, which I've just explained why it doesn't work for me, music. But it works as a strengthening mechanism because it holds the power of memory. And memory can be compartmentalized, which is what I was saying at the beginning of the video, compartmentalizing emotions and feelings so that a part of me draws strength to get through the day from within the memory that is unlocked and triggered by a fragrance, by its smell, by the fact that the smell is kind of like a shield around me. And I draw strength from the emotions that the fragrance instigates from within me. And it does help me get throughout the day. Really does. And especially with Après Lunde, because it has a very, very succinct, precise reference to the past. And it's a past that our ancestors have survived. I mean, we are here. We are the true testament and the receipt that proves that our ancestors have survived because they made it through to us, and we were lucky enough to get born, and here we are, living proof that their lives were also worth something because we are here now. And so this perfume reminds me of that. And it gives me strength because it also makes me want to fight for the past, for that pride, and that sense of dignity that I feel is getting more and more lost the more time passes. So fragrances can also connect us to a place inside of us where there still is moral, there still is dignity, there still is pride, there still is a sense of unity, a sense of concern for others, empathy. And as abstract as this conversation might appear to some who maybe just discover my channel for the first time ever and they just click to know, okay, what perfumes should I buy in March? And instead you're getting something a little bit deeper maybe. But for those of you who have been following me for a while now, you know that we go deep, right? There's nothing more intense and deep and specific than fragrances to take us really on that journey of survival and instinct at the end of the day, and memory. Sometimes even a memory that we have not lived ourselves, but perfumes are keys that unlock heritage memories. Heritage memories are those memories that, I mean, if you haven't lived in the early 1900s, but this perfume was made in the early 1900s, it bears within its core the smell of that time. And believe it or not, when you truly give a perfume the chance, it will unlock a community, a communal, a group type of memory that is within your DNA. And you will feel emotions as if you were back in that time, even though you never lived in that time, but your ancestors did. And the spirit of their memory is also within you, and that can also be accessed, I believe. And fragrances really help access that. Après Lunde is a perfect example of access, tapping in to that memory core DNA. Because of the concept of a rain, and the rain also washes away, sorrow, pain, trials and tribulations, fear. They also say the rain washes away the tears. New tears come, new pain arises after rain is gone, and the sun comes out, and then the clouds will inevitably come again, and then there will be more rain. But this perfume signals that moment of hope right after the rain has passed. There's that poetic feeling of being isolated in a safe space while you're watching the rain outside, and then the rain stopped and there's still some droplets falling down. The soil, the earth is humid, and the sun is coming out, the clouds are dissipating, and there's that warmth mixed with humidity that only kind of March vibes can deliver in early spring that just makes you feel hopeful. Chlorophyll is very, very slowly, shyly announcing its arrival within the vegetation. Flora and fauna are about to bloom as April and May kick in. But March is literally that symbol of winter over, spring begins. It's not yet really spring. Winter is not yet really completely gone. You're right there in between, and you're hopeful. Man, amazing. If I get a shopping link to Après Londe, I shall post it down below in the YouTube shopping links. And you can use those to purchase also other stuff. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, by the way. It does help a lot. When you use those links, they're like affiliate links. You don't pay more for the product, but a smidge of a percentage goes to me. So, Guerlain, you delivered. Number 2, as you're thumbing up the video and subscribing, is... Man, I mean, I needed a little bit of a booster of positive vibes and energy from the 80s. Liz Claiborne is my number 2. Nowadays considered a cheapie, believe it or not, but still gorgeous to the core. This one does still bear relatively high up in the ingredient list Evernia furfuracea or tree moss extract, which you have listed right up there. Where is it? There it is, Evernia furfuracea or tree moss extract. This one is made in the US of A, baby. And this is a 100 milliliter bottle, spray version. Also, I'll get a shopping link for this one down below. Usually available, like, it's a cheapie nowadays. It's from the 80s, from Liz Claiborne, but it's available, Walmart, Amazon, all sorts of places. And that's a 100 ml bottle. And then you have all the colors of the rainbow. Well, not really. You have the 3 basic colors, right? You got the red, the yellow, and the blue. For this plastic version of the bottle spray with the glass interior, isn't this is such a masterpiece of 80s design. Just the bottle alone is worth it. And yes, there is a yellow, blue, and red bottle. I have the red one here, but you can technically collect them all and get the blue one as well as the yellow. So we take the lid off. Even the sprayer is matching the bottle. Isn't this beautiful? Hope and sunshine in a bottle. Seriously, Liz Claiborne. Man, it's an 80s fragrance. And I said this also, you can check out my review of Liz Claiborne also on my channel. I've said this about Liz Claiborne, that it, to me, represents the 80s version of Guerlain, even though this is not Guerlain, this is Liz Claiborne, but it's kind of an homage, or it has been inspired by Guerlain's Mitsuko. It's a chypre, like Mitsuko was that first fruity chypre with peach, which was revolutionary back then, mixing in peach with the tree moss or with the oak moss in that case, and that bergamot in the opening, and then you have those patchouli slash labdanum vibes in the mid notes with the oak moss as a fixative, a lot of it. Your classical chypre formula with that added peach. Here you have all of that, plus a ton of white florals. It's kind of an 80s version of Mitsuko, in my opinion. And Man, I mean, it's so beautiful. It has the shoulder pads. It's a white cotton shirt, oversized. You know, it's voluptuous. It's dreamy. It's like you're living your best life and you're at peace. You know, you are at peace, and that sun is either setting or it's rising. But every single note in this perfume is just magical. I mean, if you want not just the vibe of turning on an 80s movie and living for 1 or 2 or 3 hours, depending how long the movie is, the nostalgia of the 80s. If you don't want to just dress up in some vintage 80s clothes and wear some vintage 80s accessories or jewelry or costume jewelry, but you want to go that extra mile, you need an 80s perfume. And yes, there are many, many, many beautiful 80s fragrances, but this one, I don't know how Liz Claiborne has managed to preserve the quality of this. It's still there. It's not like, oh, they watered this down terribly. It's no longer what it used to be. It's still potent. It's still powerful. Get the made in USA version. I think all of them are made in USA. Maybe in Europe, you're going to get one that's made in France, but I think they're all made in the USA. You just got to be careful with the stopper, with the lid. You see this little plastic little kind of pyramid on the top. It has to align with the little dent in the stopper here. Right there. Right here. So you can't just like put this on both sides. It has to align with the little pyramid. Otherwise, you won't be able to close it. There you go. And then you get your little triangular pyramid, very 80s shape. What a beauty. And then you see through the bottle there with the liquid popping out. And then it's a 30 ml bottle. This is a 100 ml bottle. Actually, this one also exists as a 50 and as a 30 ml. And then they also made little miniatures of this one in 5 ml. Splash. However, this is a spray. But I am currently kind of obsessed with the more plasticky vibe, the 30 ml bottles. As you can see here, red is very difficult to capture on camera. 1 fluid ounce or 30 ml. Liz Claiborne for the win and this beautiful 80s package. I mean, just everything from the font to the color to the whole concept, the artwork of this one is just divine on every level. So it gives you joy to look at the bottle, gives you joy to look at the packaging, gives you joy to wear the fragrance. It's just a mood booster. It's a mood enhancer. It gives you hope, gives you sunshine, even on a rainy day. So that's my number 2. If I get the shopping link to this one, I shall post it in my shopping links. Now, thumb up the video as we move on and subscribe as we move on to number 3. We had to have a Chanel in our midst. And it's Chanel Chance Eau Tendre Eau de Parfum, so the little bit more dense, concentrated version of Chance. The first Chance Eau Tendre was the Eau de Toilette, and then many years later, after the Eau de Toilette was released, they also released the Eau de Parfum, which is a little bit more succulent, a little bit more rose-heavy, maybe also a little bit more fruity. And it comes with a metal stopper. The Eau de Toilette comes with a kind of frosted plastic transparent stopper. So that's how you know always the difference, even though if you flip the bottle, that kind of metal ring at the bottom, etched in the metal, you will see and you will read the concentration, just in case you're purchasing this pre-loved. This is important that it's metal if you want the EDP, and it's a plastic, frosted plastic, translucent frosted plastic for the EDT. You could swap the lids. That's why, again, it's really important to always look at the bottom on the metal ring. The embossing. Is it in Eau de Toilette or Eau de Parfum? Both are amazing. By now, they have released almost of every Chance Flanker and Eau de Parfum. They all began as Eau de Toilettes, but Eau Vive we're still waiting on the Eau de Parfum concentration for Eau Vive. I cannot wait because I love Eau Vive as well. But Eau Tendre is that lilac-y, light pinky, pearlescent, little spring and summer beauty with a ton of roses, but very youthful, very fresh, very invigorating. The dry down is powdery and soft. The opening is classic Chanel, bubbly, sparkling aldehydes with a little bit of citruses. I mean, all of the Chance flankers are quite citrusy and bubbly, especially Eau Fraiche being the citrus. And then you have Eau Vive with that Sicilian red, blood orange in there as well. But Eau Tendre is maybe a little bit less citrusy than the others. It is more rose based, but it's a futuristic type of rose. It's a rose from a youthful future, from a world where whenever you wear this perfume, you feel youthful. It kind of invigorates you in a way. No matter your age, no matter how much you might be feeling the pressure of your age, you might be feeling pain connected to your age, whether it be joint pain or thinking about retiring soon, where's the pension fund going to come from? Like all sorts of pains that come in conjunction with physical aging or societal aging, rather, because some people also in their 80s, 90s feel amazing. But, society says, but you're a certain age, you have that number in your passport, right? But you don't feel that age. So that's legitimate as well. You are only as old as how old you feel, rather than the number that you have kind of etched into your documents telling you, don't ever forget, you were born on that date, so you are that age. No, I don't think in those terms, but sooner or later, time catches up with us and we do slow down a little, right? Well, this perfume gives back the speed. It kind of gives back a fresh outlook on life. And this is very much needed in these times right now. Very much needed, in my humble opinion, because what else are you going to do? There's just so many books we can read, and we've read them all. All of the ones, from our past when we were in school, the books you need to read to learn about the history of literature, about youth, about hope, about fighting back for liberty, for freedom, for rights. It's like the ink has been used up, the pages have been filled. We have read. But when I wear Chance Tendre, I feel like I am in the middle of a new book being written with a brand new ink, with a brand new quality of paper. Not really technological. This is a handwritten book. It's not digital. It's not typed out on a computer and then sent off to an editor, proofread, and then printed. No, everything seems to be analog with this perfume. This is a weird perfume that to me always smells as though it comes from another parallel universe, like future, but analog. So there's like connection to the past as well within the core DNA of Chance Eau Tendre Eau de Parfum. And you can, for more details and more thoughts on this perfume, check out my full review of Chance Eau Tendre also on my channel. If I get a shopping link to this one and to the other flankers and other concentrations, I will post it also in the shopping links here on YouTube. And while you're at it, you might want, if you love the Chance family in general, you might maybe be interested in checking out my live stream rerun. It's a video that I made dedicated to all of the concentrations and flankers of Chance. I did kind of a longer video dedicated to each and every concentration, each and every flanker. And while I was playing a video game that Chanel created, like an app game, which was free to download, and it was really popular around about a year, 2 years ago, or a year ago. And I played it and I was collecting all the points, and you collect camellias and you collect perfume drops. It was like a perfume video game. So I would kind of be playing the game And in the background, you could see the full game projected while I'm playing it. And it's a beautiful, nostalgic kind of vibe and trip. All the colors of all the Chanel flankers are in the video game. And as we're playing the game, we're also kind of reviewing all of the fragrances. So it's a very, very fun video to watch, very soothing and relaxing. I rewatched it just the other day again. Not because I'm like self-obsessed, not at all. I was just craving all of those perfumes together again with that background, that particular setting. Um, it allowed me to travel and kind of just go into another place in another time for just, at least for an hour and a half or two. I got a chance to just go back into that specific moment in time when I was really happy playing the game with you guys, because it was a live stream. So there were also live chats and I was interacting with you. And it was just a really, really, really nice memory. So I sprayed on some Chance and I rewatched that video. It was like watching a movie, strangely. Maybe we should do another one of those live streams. Let me know if we should do another Chance video game together. So that would be my Chance au tendre number 3. If I get the shopping link to this one, I'll post it in the YouTube shopping links. Thumb up the video, subscribe, and let's move on to number 4. Of course, it had to be the most motherly fragrance. I have reviewed Eternity by Calvin Klein for women. Now they write for women. In the 80s, they did not write for women on the bottle. It was clear that Eternity was for women, although perfumes know no gender in my book, Although in this case, the differentiation is maybe important because after they've released Eternity for women, towards the late 80s, they also released Eternity for men, which is also a beautiful perfume. This one is Miss Groisman's masterpiece. And this lady, the perfumer who created Eternity, just nailed it on the head. I mean, this thing is literally, we're like going to go to the beach here. Like we're going to go beyond the pool, the infinity pool, down to you see there's also like nature going on there. There's a rocky formation, but there's also sandy beach. But this is at that sandy beach. You're wearing very light toned beige or white knitwear. Your hair is long and you let it loose and there's like salty water still in the air and you're hugging your loved one. The photographs are black and white. I mean, very much Calvin Klein ad campaign for Eternity from back in the day. And it's a very motherly smell. And I have reviewed Eternity on my channel, the actual extrait, which is no longer in production. But what a beautiful little bottle that comes in a satin padded little pillow, silver gray box. Well, the box is white, but the interior of the box and the cushion in which it lays on, in which it stands in, is kind of that padded, soft, satiny, silky gray silver. But you can see all those details in my review of Eternity, and I call it the motherly fragrance because Eternity smells like a mother's embrace, which again is the most soothing and comforting if you're lucky enough to have a mother, first of all, and second of all, if you're lucky enough to have a mother who really loves you. It is a soothing, warm, protective, healing type of embrace. Eternity, even in its current Coty distribution, reformulated iteration, still delivers that emotion to me when I smell it. It just has a grounding effect on me. And if I'm hectic, if I'm frantic, if I'm anxious, and I smell Eternity, I center myself immediately. I center myself and I feel embraced and safe. It's a sense of feeling safe that is a mental emotion of feeling safe, not maybe necessarily physical, because if you're outside and you're surrounded by strangers, you don't know them, you never know what's going to happen. But it's important to feel safe on the inside. Your core needs to feel stable and safe, and then we go outwards, right? And then we can handle more challenges that are coming outwards. This one helps me ground interiorly, like from the inside. We work from the inside outwards. That's what eternity does to me. And it is an abstraction. It's like a white floral with powdery notes. And it's a very late 80s sunset type of vibe. It's the end of an era. I mean, eternity announces the 90s. It really does. And it lets go of all of the colors and um, the eclectic kind of clash of all sorts of decades that would mesh and mix into the 80s, because you had a little bit of the 40s, the 50s, the 70s, 60s. The 80s were a very, very kind of quick mixing up and rehashing of everything that we have from our pop culture past into something new. But then the late 80s, and eternity is a very, very interesting symbol and exponent of it. The late 80s represent a new chapter. It is, we are becoming aseptic, and that extravagant artificiality and the artifact and the artifice of the clothes and the makeup and the hair and everything is a lot and flamboyant and glamorous, which is beautiful. But then you need a break from all of that, and then you just kind of tone it down for a second. And eternity was kind of, it stripped it all down back to the roots, back to natural looking, sun-kissed tan, very minimal, no heavy makeup anywhere. Eternity really began what was going to be soon in the 90s, that grunge era and that kind of, smidging around, that kind of out of bed makeup look, which you're going to see later on in the 90s, quite predominantly, really, that I've been partying all night and I have a little bit of eyeliner and a crayon pencil, it's just kind of like a coal, just like smidged all around. This is before that. This is kind of rediscovering full-blown natural look after the flamboyance of the 80s. And then we're going to see the grunge kind of seep into this. So this is a beautiful in-between moment. And very embracing and warm. Beautiful white floral. There's a coolness to it, but also a warmth. The intention is loving. Beautiful. If I get the shopping link to this one, I'll post it in the shopping links down below. Thumb up the video, subscribe, and let's check out our number 5. I needed a kicker for this one, for my 5th position. It is Poison by Christian Dior, the OG Poison. This is the current bottle and the current formulation. It's available only as an eau de toilette currently, although in the 80s and 90s, you had eau de toilette, Esprit de Parfum, Parfum, eau de cologne light, and then you had a bath and body range, which was incredible. I mean, there was a body gel, there was a gel opal, there was a body oil, there was a bath oil, there was 2 types of powders, there was a body powder, there was a body talcum, slightly different, a little bit less dusty powder. There were deodorant sprays, deodorant sticks. There was a body lotion. There was a body cream. And I have made an in-depth review of the Poison collection, from the 80s and 90s. You can go check that out. Also on my channel. It was one of the first videos I made on my main Super Dacob channel, and that video has been since transported to my Perfume, essentially Dacob channel. That video was shot over 10 years ago. But Poison is a very, very, very hardcore tuberose. So it's a white floral housed within a dark heart, foreboding heart. And it enhances and analyzes the more indolic aspects of the tuberose, the more camphorous aspects of the tuberose, drenched in a conceptual plum accord with a lot of spices, a lot of woods. Vanilla is in there as well. And it is a dark, menacing type of fragrance that at the same time soothes you. Now, not for nothing, it has the shape of an apple, like the poisoned apple from Snow White. These ridges that you see on the sides, there's 4 of them. They're like claws holding onto the bottle. But because it's a poison bottle, these are also ridges that symbolize, in an abstract way, they're an homage to antique bottles that contained poison. For the people who couldn't read, there was on poison bottles usually also a skull. But for the people who were blind, they would touch the bottle, they would feel the ridges, and they would know that there was something dangerous inside that bottle. So there's a lot of beautiful historical references within poison, and the smell of it is just mesmerizing. I mean, it's alluring, it's intriguing, it's it's dangerous, but at the same time it smells like, yeah, it's dangerous. That danger is there, but we're going to be okay. We're going to go through that dangerous zone and we're going to come out on the other side more empowered because we've survived the danger. And it gives us hints within that smell, within the perfume. We get hints that we have the strength and we have the power to overcome this poison, to survive this poison, no matter how many years it takes. We have that strength within us to come out on the other end stronger than we were before. Beautiful for nighttime, beautiful for a date. It will definitely make people notice you because it's powerful, even in its current formulation, which, let's be frank here, it's not like Dior currently under LVMH is very good at preserving the heritage of their, you know, of their vintage creations. I mean, Poison was released in the mid 80s, 86, but it's not, for perfume standards, that's eons ago. And I'm really sad that they've limited the OG Poison to just that one. That's all you can get. There's no more shower gels, there's no more bath oils, there's no more lotions. For the other flankers, yes. Hypnotic Poison, which was released in the 90s, still to this day, Dior produces the lotion, the gel, the cream, the stuff, but not for the OG purple bottle, purple black dark bottle of Poison. No more other concentrations other than Eau de Toilette. And I think the Eau de Toilette, maybe you can still get it in 2 or 3 sizes, like 30 ml, 50 ml, 100 ml. I'm not even sure. They might only have it as a 50 ml. A couple of years ago, there was a special limited edition of the Extrait, which the Extrait did not exist in the 80s, right? It was a 15 ml splash bottle, which you could purchase on the Chanel website. And they did have a Parfum in the 80s, which, yes, technically it's like the Extrait, but there's a reason why they called the 15 ml Extrait this time around. It's because it's a different formulation than what the Parfum used to be. And the Parfum in the 80s was quite limited. It was available for a short period of time because, truth be told, already the Toilette back in the day would knock you off your feet. The Esprit de Parfum was very intense. Like, very few people would dare purchase something even more intense and go for the Parfum. So it wasn't in production for a long period of time. But then Dior brought it back as an Extrait a couple of years back, and they did that as a series for most of their heritage perfumes. They did like the 15 ml Extraits. Now it comes and goes. Sometimes you might find it, sometimes not. Currently, I'm not so sure if they have it on their site. If they do, I'll post it in the shopping links down below. But they still definitely do have the Eau de Toilette of Poison. If you can get the vintage, of course, I recommend the vintage. And I do currently recommend the Eau de Toilette over the Esprit de Parfum vintage. And you can see that it's an Eau de Toilette because the bottle, so the little apple bottle is for the Esprit de Parfum back in the day, not anymore. Today you get that Poison bottle for the apple-shaped bottle for the Eau de Toilette. But in the 80s and 90s, and also up until the early 2000s, you could purchase the Eau de Toilette in a more kind of squished, flatter, elevated bottle, also with the claws on the sides, but it's more elongated and more flat. And that's the Eau de Toilette, as well as the Eau de Cologne. But for the Esprit de Parfum, you got it in that round bottle, which now you get the Eau de Toilette in. However, 80s, 90s, Poison, there's something about the Eau de Toilette that just it's so masterfully blended and beautifully tailored, um, from beginning, from start to end, from beginning to finish. It has from start to finish, from beginning to end. It just has this beautifully tailored haute couture vibe about it. The Esprit de Parfum, also gorgeous, but it's a little bit more aggressive, especially in the dry down. It's more edgy, more conceptual. While the Eau de Toilette just blends in with your skin chemistry much, at least with mine. So this is a wonderful danger, being aware of the dangers we're in right now, but also it's a wonderful reminder that we have the strength to overcome all those dangers and to survive them and to battle them out and to fight and come out on the other end triumphant. Poison might wear us in the beginning, but we're strong enough to wear it at the end of the game. So that's my number 5, you guys. And let me blend this one out. If I get the shopping link, I'll put it down below. Thank you so much for using those links, because you can also end up buying some other stuff. But as long as you click on the link, it does help out the channel tremendously, especially in these hard times we're living in right now. I have a special number 6 as well, just because I thought, let's break the rules a little bit. I mean, if the politicians are breaking them, why can't we? I got this little pebble here. Obviously, Chanel number 5 L'Eau exists in other boxes and bottles as well. This was a beautiful limited edition glass bottle and glass stopper made in 2024. They called it the drop of perfume. I call it the pebble. But regardless of the shape of the bottle, and if I do find a shopping link to this one, because maybe some shops still have it 1 year later, I'll post it here. But if I don't find it, doesn't matter, I'll find the low concentration in general. This is another little beauty that I kind of wanted to sneak in today into my list, because there's just that orange accord mixed in with the aldehydes and the jasmine and the May rose and the ylang ylang and that buttery, beautiful ylang ylang in here. It's so refreshing and invigorating, and it really, really sends a very clear message to all of my receptors and my well-being feelings in my body. It makes me feel so good. And this is a very, very good one for spring. Not so much for winter, fall. This is a joyful rebirth of nature, reinvigorating of everything, and just giving that citrusy, zesty boost that other Chanel concentrations don't have as much as L'Eau. That's a little bonus extra feature. If you've made it this far into the video, and the orange accord is so predominant in this one, maybe you can like type a little something something. Let me know your favorite perfumes for the month of March down below, and add a little orange emoji just so that we know that it's the orange fruit accord. Thank you guys so much. Love you. Until next time, never forget to never give up on love, and subscribe. Bye.